A wedding at Cousin's Beach. Just the thought of it is enough to send fans spiraling into a storm of emotions. For 3 seasons, we've followed Belly's journey, torn between Conrad and Jeremiah, fighting through heartbreak, healing, and impossible choices. But now, the finale trailer throws us into chaos with one shocking image, a wedding. The air is heavy with tension, and the questions refuse to stop. Who is the bride? Who is the groom? And most of all, will this wedding end in celebration or devastation? Season 3 has not been an easy ride. From the very first episode, it was clear that this summer carried a different kind of pain. Susanna's absence hung over every character like a shadow, shaping their choices and tearing into their hearts. Belly, once carefree and bright, has spent this entire season stumbling through emotions she can barely control. Each step forward felt like 2 steps back. Her love for Conrad has always been undeniable, deep, raw, and unforgettable. But love with Conrad has never been easy. His silence, his guarded walls, and his grief kept pulling them apart, even when his eyes told a different story. And then there's Jeremiah, the safe harbor in Belly's storm. His love is open, warm, and filled with comfort. He's the one who shows up, the one who speaks his feelings instead of hiding them. But sometimes, safety can feel like settling. Belly's heart has been stretched thin between 2 brothers who represent 2 very different futures. For fans, watching her journey has been like watching a fragile glass about to shatter, every moment closer to breaking, every choice loaded with consequences. By the time episode 7 ended, the tension was unbearable. Secrets were on the edge of being revealed, emotions exploded, and Belly was left standing between Conrad and Jeremiah with no clear answer. Her face told a story of confusion, of fear, and of love she could not name. Then came the trailer for episode 8, The Wedding. Shocker that no one expected. For 3 seasons, the story has built itself on stolen glances, heartbreaks, and fragile promises. But now, the image of a wedding feels like the storm has finally reached its peak. The most powerful thing about this moment is that it doesn't feel like a celebration. It feels like a reckoning. Weddings are supposed to symbolize joy, certainty, and the beginning of forever. But here, the wedding feels like a test, a stage where every hidden truth and every broken heart collides. The trailer shows flashes of dresses, flowers, and music, but it all feels heavy, as if something isn't quite right. Belly is shown standing near the aisle, her expression caught between beauty and hesitation. It's the look of someone standing on the edge of a choice that could change everything, and that's what has left the fandom in shock. The finale doesn't just hint at romance, it screams of heartbreak, regret, and the possibility of a twist no one is ready for. Every moment in season 3 has led to this. Every whispered word, every stolen kiss, every tear, and every fight has built the foundation for a finale that feels less like closure and more like a storm about to tear everything apart. Whether the wedding is real, imagined, or just a clever misdirection, one thing is clear, episode 8 is going to change the way fans see this story forever. The trailer wastes no time in shaking the ground beneath us. A wedding bell rings, soft music plays in the background, and flowers line the aisle. But instead of joy, it feels like the calm before a storm. Fans immediately began asking the one question that refuses to leave their minds: whose wedding is this? Could it be Belly's, a rushed and desperate attempt to choose Jeremiah and lock away her heartache? Or is it a misdirection, a family friend's wedding used as the backdrop for Belly's most heartbreaking realization? The brilliance of this trailer lies in its refusal to give a straight answer. Instead, it feeds our hunger for speculation, leaving us to drown in theories. One moment stands out more than any other: Belly standing near the aisle, her dress perfect, her hair glowing, but her face unreadable. She doesn't look like a girl excited to start a new chapter. She looks like someone caught between running away and stepping forward. That single shot has set the fandom on fire because it captures the truth of her entire journey. Belly has never been certain. Not in season 1 when she first discovered love, not in season 2 when grief changed everything, and not now in season 3 where she stands at the crossroads of her heart. Then comes Conrad. Just a flash, but enough to break hearts. His expression isn't joyful. It isn't hopeful. It's heavy, shadowed with the kind of pain he has carried since Susanna's death. For 3 seasons, Conrad has been the master of silence. He says little, but his eyes speak everything. And in this trailer, his eyes scream regret. It's as if he's watching something he can't stop, watching Belly walk toward a future that doesn't include him. Fans of Team Conrad see this moment as proof that Conrad still loves her, proof that his silence has cost him everything, and proof that this wedding might be the moment he finally breaks. Jeremiah, on the other hand, is shown bursting with nervous energy, adjusting his tie, taking a breath, pacing with anticipation. To some, it looks like the energy of a groom about to marry the girl he's loved for years. To others, it looks like the energy of a boy about to lose everything in a single moment. Jeremiah has always worn his heart on his sleeve, unlike his brother. He has loved Belly openly, fought for her loudly, and held her when Conrad pushed her away. But even with all his love, Jeremiah has always carried one fear, that when it mattered most, Belly wouldn't choose him. And in this wedding imagery, that fear feels sharper than ever. Will he finally be chosen? Or will he stand at the altar only to see her run? The trailer doesn't stop there. Laurel, Belly's mom, appears briefly, her face wet with tears. But they're not the joyful tears of a wedding day. They're the heavy tears of a mother watching her daughter rush into something she might not be ready for. Her storyline this season has been about survival, about learning to breathe again after Susanna's loss. And now, in this wedding scene, her eyes tell a story of fear that Belly is about to make a choice that could define her life too soon. Steven's voice echoes in the background with one simple line, "Are you sure about this?" It isn't just a brother's question. It's the voice of reason cutting through the fog of emotion. Steven has been Belly's anchor, the one who grounds her when the world spins too fast. And his warning feels like a crack in the illusion of this wedding. If Steven isn't sure, then maybe we shouldn't be either. The tension only builds when the trailer flashes chaotic images, a bouquet dropped on the ground, a figure running out of the ceremony in frustration, the sound of doors slamming inside the beach house. Weddings are supposed to be about unity, but these quick cuts suggest something else entirely: division, heartbreak, and maybe even betrayal. The idea of a wedding, once a symbol of love, suddenly transforms into a battlefield where every emotion, every secret, and every hidden desire is forced into the open, and that's the brilliance of this finale setup. It isn't just about romance. It's about family. It's about grief. It's about the kind of choices that scar you for life. The trailer teases us with the possibility of answers, but the truth is that episode 8 might leave us with even more questions. Will Belly finally choose Jeremiah, ending years of indecision? Will she confess her love to Conrad at the very last second? Or will the entire wedding turn out to be a misdirection, a symbol of her inner struggle rather than an actual event? Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain: the finale is going to be unforgettable. The finale inches closer, the emotional tug-of-war between Conrad and Jeremiah intensifies, pulling Belly right into the storm of complicated feelings. For many fans, this love triangle has always been the heart of the summer I Turned Pretty. But in Season 3 Episode 8, it feels less like a simple choice of who Belly will end up with, and more like a battle between the past, the present, and the future. Conrad represents the first love, the boy who has always carried Belly's heart, even when he didn't know how to handle it. Jeremiah, on the other hand, is the steady presence, the one who's always been there with loyalty, warmth, and a willingness to fight for her. This is why fans are torn, because both boys symbolize different kinds of love, and Belly's decision reflects not just romance, but who she is becoming as a person now. Here's where the book readers step in. In Jenny Han's novels, Belly's journey leans toward Conrad as the endgame, but the show has already shown us that it's not afraid to bend the storylines, to play with timing, and to reimagine certain relationships. That's why theories are exploding online. Will the show stay true to the books, or will it deliver a shocking twist no one saw coming? Some fans believe the writers are setting up Jeremiah as the more mature choice, especially after Conrad's moments of distance and hesitation. Others argue that Conrad's hidden depth, his quiet sacrifices, and his slow emotional growth prove he is still the one for Belly. And then, there's a third group who wonder if Belly doesn't choose either, if perhaps her journey is about stepping away from both brothers to find her independence before making a lifelong commitment. The wedding backdrop in Episode 8 adds even more tension. Weddings are all about love, promises, and choosing a future, and having Belly caught between two brothers in such a setting is no coincidence. Fans theorize that this wedding could mirror Belly's own eventual path, almost like a symbolic rehearsal of what's to come. Will she be the next bride in line, and if so, whose bride will she be? Or will she watch this wedding unfold and realize that she still has time to figure out who she truly wants? The writers cleverly place Belly in an environment that forces her to confront these questions without giving her or the audience an easy answer. Theories also dive into Conrad's emotional arc. He has always been the mysterious one, holding back his feelings, afraid to open up. But in this episode, fans expect a breakthrough, a raw confession, maybe a slip of vulnerability that Belly wasn't expecting. Some even believe Conrad may write Belly a heartfelt letter or share a hidden memory from Susanna that changes everything. Jeremiah, on the other hand, is more transparent with his feelings. He loves openly, fights directly, and doesn't hide behind walls. This contrast sets up a finale where Belly is forced to compare not just who loves her more, but who she can truly build a life with. But what's really fascinating is how the show layers the brothers' emotions. It's not just about who gets the girl, it's about how these two young men handle heartbreak, competition, and brotherhood. Some fans believe episode 8 might show a major rift between Conrad and Jeremiah, one that could take seasons to heal, if it ever does. Others think the finale will surprise us by showing them united, putting Belly's happiness above their rivalry. Either way, their bond will be tested in ways deeper than romance, and if you think this is just a story about choosing between two loves, think again. Fans point out that The Summer I Turned Pretty has always been about family, grief, and growing up as much as it has been about romance. Episode 8 could tie all of these threads together in one powerful finale. Belly's decision may not just reflect her heart but also the legacy of Susanna, the meaning of family, and what it truly means to grow into adulthood. Just when fans thought they had predicted everything, The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 Episode 8 turned the tables completely. The wedding was supposed to be the heartwarming resolution of the season, a moment where love triumphed over heartbreak and confusion. But instead, it became the stage for one of the most jaw-dropping finales the show has ever delivered. What was meant to be a celebration quickly turned into a minefield of emotions, secrets, and revelations that left every character and the audience stunned. The wedding setting carried an unusual weight from the very beginning. It wasn't just about vows, flowers, and promises, it became a mirror reflecting every complicated relationship in the series. Belly stood at the center of it all, carrying the burden of choices she still hadn't fully made. The fact that she was part of a wedding celebration while her own romantic life felt unsettled was already ironic, but the writers made sure to amplify this tension with every passing moment. It's as if the wedding itself wasn't just for the characters, it was for the audience, a test of where their loyalties stood and how much they were willing to handle before the emotional storm hit. Then came the first surprise, a speech that changed the tone of the entire event. Someone close to the bride and groom took the microphone and, instead of offering the usual sweet words, delivered something unexpected, a heartfelt but brutally honest reflection that peeled back the facade of happiness. That moment sent a ripple through the room, breaking the illusion of perfection. Suddenly, everyone was reminded that weddings are not just about two people, they're about families, friends, and the unresolved tensions that always linger beneath the surface. But that was just the beginning. The most shocking reveal arrived when an uninvited guest appeared, throwing the carefully planned ceremony into chaos. Fans couldn't believe their eyes when this character stepped into the frame, someone tied deeply to Belly's journey, someone whose presence threatened to unravel everything she thought she understood about love. Their arrival didn't just disrupt the wedding, it reshaped the narrative completely, hinting at betrayals, secrets, and decisions that would have long-lasting consequences, and if that wasn't enough, the emotional explosion between Conrad and Jeremiah finally erupted at this wedding. Years of brotherly tension, love triangles, and suppressed feelings could no longer be hidden. What started as subtle glances and quiet disagreements escalated into a confrontation that left everyone speechless. For Belly, standing between them in that moment felt like being torn in half, and for the audience, it was impossible to choose sides without feeling the weight of heartbreak. This wasn't just about who she would choose, it was about how love itself can fracture families, how happiness for one person can mean pain for another. By the end of the wedding, nothing felt certain anymore. The joy of the occasion was overshadowed by tears, confessions, and the sense that this was no ordinary finale. The wedding surprises weren't cheap plot twists, they were deeply woven into the emotional fabric of the show, forcing every character to face truths they had long avoided. Belly had to confront not only her feelings but also the reality that love doesn't always fit into a perfect fairy tale ending. Conrad and Jeremiah had to acknowledge the damage their rivalry had caused, not just to each other but to the very girl they both loved. The finale's biggest triumph was how it managed to close one chapter while opening the door to another. Fans who thought Season 3 would wrap things up neatly were left gasping as the seeds for Season 4 were planted right there, in the chaos of the wedding. Questions about loyalty, forgiveness, and the future of these relationships are now more pressing than ever. Was the wedding a turning point, or was it just the spark that lit the fire for an even more explosive journey ahead? What makes this episode unforgettable is not just the spectacle of the wedding itself, but how it redefined the stakes of the story. It wasn't about choosing between Conrad or Jeremiah anymore, it was about what kind of person Belly wanted to become, and whether she had the strength to step out of the triangle altogether. It was about whether love could survive honesty, and whether family bonds could withstand betrayal. These aren't easy questions, and that's why the finale hit so hard today. As the credits rolled, fans were left with a haunting sense of anticipation. The wedding may have ended, but the story was just beginning. Season 4 now feels inevitable, and with it, the promise of even more revelations, heartbreaks, and moments that will test every character's resilience. The finale didn't just shock us, it set the stage for a future where nothing can be taken for granted, and where every decision will carry consequences too heavy to ignore. The wedding was never meant to be just a simple event, it was a turning point, a carefully placed storm that swept through every relationship. In the summer I turned pretty. And now, in the aftermath of vows exchanged, secrets whispered, and tears barely held back, fans are left clinging to the emotional fallout. The surprising part? This wasn't just a finale, it felt like the writers deliberately cracked open a door to something bigger, deeper, and more unpredictable in the seasons to come. For many viewers, the wedding wasn't just about who said, "I do." It became a mirror reflecting each character's choices, their regrets, and their hidden desires. Belly, caught in the tug-of-war of her own heart, seemed to face the harsh truth. Love isn't just about fireworks and first kisses, it's about timing, honesty, and the courage to choose without fear. The wedding highlighted just how tangled her feelings remain, with Conrad still quietly carrying the weight of unspoken words, and Jeremiah offering the kind of stability she's always longed for but never fully trusted. This clash of emotion made the finale almost unbearable to watch, because no matter who she turned to, someone was going to walk away broken. But let's talk about the shocking reveals layered into the wedding storyline. One of the most heart-stopping moments came with a family secret that seemed to emerge out of nowhere. The whispers about Laurel and her connection to the Fisher family went far beyond old memories. They hinted at choices from the past that could reshape how Belly sees her future. And just when viewers thought the drama couldn't stretch any further, the finale dropped the kind of bombshell that had fans hitting pause and replay. Was it Conrad's sudden confession? Or Jeremiah's desperate plea for Belly to stay by his side forever? No matter which moment struck harder, the weight of those scenes ensured no fan could walk away untouched. The wedding also carried an undercurrent of generational pain. Susanna's absence loomed heavily, her memory woven into every smile and tear. It felt like the characters were all trying to honor her while also struggling to define themselves outside her shadow. This gave the wedding an almost bittersweet glow, beautiful yet haunting, joyous yet tragic. That's exactly why so many fans believe Season 3's finale wasn't just about romance, but about the legacy of love, family, and how grief shapes the people we become. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. The finale wasn't afraid to plant seeds for Season 4. Subtle hints, background glances, and unfinished conversations suggested that this wedding is not the end of the road, it's just the beginning of the next emotional earthquake. Conrad's lingering look across the dance floor, Jeremiah's desperate grip on Belly's hand, even Stephen's quiet sense of being left out, every detail seemed to scream that the story isn't finished. Fans who know Jenny Han's book trilogy recognize that the storylines are bending, twisting, and in some places, breaking free from the original pages. That unpredictability leaves us wondering, will Season 4 stick to the known ending, or will it rewrite destiny entirely? Another jaw-dropping layer was the symbolic use of setting during the wedding. Cousins Beach, once the safe haven of summers past, transformed into a battleground of love and loyalty. The cozy nostalgia we once associated with this place was stripped away, replaced by raw emotion and heartbreaking choices. It's as if the show is telling us, the innocence of childhood summers is gone, and adulthood, with all its pain and responsibility, has arrived. That realization hit Belly hardest of all, leaving fans to debate whether she's finally ready to stop clinging to the past and step into a future she defines for herself. And while Belly's love triangle may remain the beating heart of the show, the finale also gave side characters room to shine in ways that could drastically alter the coming season. Taylor's boldness, Stephen's struggles with independence, and Laurel's attempts to heal while guiding her daughter, all of these arcs wove into the wedding storyline, adding layers of depth that fans couldn't ignore. The result? A finale that felt both intimate and expansive, like every thread was being pulled tighter toward an inevitable unraveling. The wedding wasn't just a finale, it was a declaration: nothing will ever be the same again. Love has been confessed, promises have been broken, and the stage is set for an emotional war that will test every bond in Season 4. If fans thought this wedding was about closure, they couldn't be more wrong. This was about opening a wound so deep that healing will take the entire next season, and maybe more, and just like that, Season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty leaves us with more questions than answers. A wedding that shook the beach house, confessions that broke hearts, and choices that will echo far into Season 4. Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah's love triangle has never been more complicated, and now, with family secrets and shocking betrayals, it feels like every character stands at a crossroads, but maybe that's what keeps us coming back to Cousins Beach. It's not just about summer romances, it's about growing up, facing heartbreak, and learning that love is rarely simple. Every ending is really a beginning, and if this finale taught us anything, it's that the story is far from over to SO. What do you think? Will Belly's final choice bring her happiness, or has she stepped into even more heartache? And how will the wedding surprises reshape every relationship moving forward? One thing's for sure, Season 4 will change everything we thought we knew. If you enjoyed diving into this roller coaster with me, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next big reveal. Until then, hold on to your theories, because the best of the summer I Turned Pretty is still yet to come.